I'm eating. I'm blessed and I know the Most High's the reason, but my heart's bleeding through my sleeve is seeping. For all the things that I've been peeping, type of shit make you say fuck it and sleeping. Cause while you was sleeping during the evening, my brothers got gunned down over the weekend. Stretched out in the streets, left leaking. Laid out, white sheet, mom's grieving. All lives gotta have more meaning than another nigga dead in the paper I'm reading. Baby mama bitching every time that you speak, talking like she gonna take the kids as she's leaving. How we go from kids to ending up in the deep end? Sink or swim, lose or win, saint or sin, where'd the change begin? And when does the bullshit end? Cause I wake up in the morning, gotta do it again. Go to sleep, go to work and just do it again. Damn, can't pretend, cause when you stand out, it's hard to blend. And what I stand for, don't fold the bend. Cause I heard real folks still got too many friends. Cause when you speak the truth, then you tend to offend. So while I'm gripping this pen, Lord, please have mercy on me, amen.
It's time for my people to come together and rise up. The only way we gonna take our royalty back, man, is if we do just that, man. Take it back. Kwame Yashala, nigga. Time for us to rise out of our oppression. A wise man told me each one teach one. So I need you to reach out to your brothers and sisters and teach them, man. There's no reason we should still be getting hung from trees in this day and age, man. Lord, please have my me.
How do you feel about the oppression of black people and Native American Indians and Hispanics? How do you feel about that oppression?
It's all tied in together, and definitely we suffered from some rough times, and it's all linked to everything's in common. Everything's in common.
Now, would you say that the common denominator for blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians will be the people, the nation that has oppressed us? Because we all been conquered by the same person. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say without saying it. I can grasp it. Yeah.
No sweat, no sweat. Now I'm gonna ask you this. Now this is a thought-provoking question right here. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm gonna ask you this, brother. You seem like a strong-spirited brother, and I just want to know: do you believe that the white man is the goddamn devil that the Bible speaks of?
Yes, definitely.
Hey, Most High in Christ, Israel, you know what I'm saying? That concludes our interview right there. Once again, this is Priest and Officer Regalia of the Isupk, and this is my brother right here,
Kawia King.
You know what I'm saying? Check this brother out. This brother's a musician. He reaches people through his music. Check him out. With that, shalom.
Shalom, this is Priest and Officer Isupk of the Isupk and the Commander General Yohanan. Started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. And we've been teaching the truth since 1969 that all so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives are God's chosen people. The reason why we are out here today is to wake up our people. A lot of our people, as you can see, are very destroyed. The oppressor still tries to destroy our people in many crafty ways. We have a lot of celebrities, we have a lot of money. They're not doing anything to help our people. So we're taking it upon ourselves to come out here in the streets and preach the word, the truth, to save our generations.
I was telling you why. Keep reading, not. And in one of all these, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck. You shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck. What you learned in history class, Rasa, that before they started putting, black people in slavery, who they put in slavery as well? Native Americans, right? Our ancestors were also put in slavery and bondage.
Shalom, Israel. This is Officer Yawasop 5000. And we are out here today to teach blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians who they truly are. And we're trying to wake them up so we can get out of this hell and this oppression that these Caucasian people have got us in for 400 years and more. You understand? And the only way to do that is to get into this truth and to get into Isupk, 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohanan.
None other beside me. I changed not. What the hell are you doing, man? What are you doing? Do some research, man. Study. Pick up a book once and stop twerking. Can you stop twerking enough to pick up a goddamn book and read it? Nah, you want to watch Power. Nah, you want to go and gossip with your girlfriends. Understand? You want to be a drug dealer. You want to be a pimp. You understand? You want to be gangster. Man, get gangster with the Lord, man. That's right. And the Lord will truly show you you ain't no gangster. Understand that, man. Be a brother to your brother, man.
The nations who oppressed you, who stole your land, who took your identity, who gave you bywords, you understand? If you join them, you're going to be destroyed with them. But if you turn to the Most High and keep His laws, statutes, and commandments, you're going to live in that terrible day when Christ returns. What did the Most High say? Read.
I will bring plagues.
He said I might bring.
I will bring.
I could bring.
I will bring.
I will bring. Read.
Plagues upon the world.
I'm going to bring what?
Plagues.
What?
Plagues.
What?
Plagues.
The Most High is going to bring plagues. And one of those plagues is known as the coronavirus, man. And you're afraid, like Donald Trump said, of the invisible enemy. Listen, there's going to be more plagues. The coronavirus ain't nothing compared to what the Most High got in store for the unfaithful and the wicked and the evil of this earth, man.
That's right. 12. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood.
Woe to him, which means destruction to him who built a town on blood. How in the hell you think you can build something on blood and everything is going to be all right? You know, in the world they got something that's called karma. Well, in the Bible it's called you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. And what you see right now is a white man reaping what he has sown in this earth, man. That's what he has sown. Bloodshed.
You were sadly mistaken, man. Right. This is the death of America. That's what this place is. The fall of Babylon. We have a song in our organization we like to sing. It goes something like this, right? Babylon is falling. So rise no more. Rise no more.
Outside, from the dust to the dawn outside. So in the morning outside, I'm catching wreck when they drawing outside. Cause it's a war outside, my sword drawn outside. This Excalibur, your bladder be all outside. Cause it's a war outside, I get it on outside. You in the crib, but the ball outside, I get it on outside. And that's a definite, cannonball wrecking shit. Excellent, rhyme Barack and bombing like the president. I remain strong, King Kong with the prevalence. I show you exactly what we do, that's how I represent. Hardcore, heaven sent, chain on, hella bent. Throwing all black when they spot me like the leopard print. Oh, I got the braids in, shades on, made men. Cause we put in work to stop the earth until they change in. Walk strong, talk heavy, hold my own. You rock solid when we bout to leave the sword and stone. Nigga, we warriors, hardcore, tracking the pride. To let the Hebrew speak, nigga, general eyes. And we talking super heavy, nigga, that's a surprise. With all scripture, street talk, word to Captain the Cod. Nigga, we blazing, ripping the mic with all facts. Doing the knowledge to the max till we cracking the pavement. UPK, y'all the one West Harlem, nigga. We spring forward and they falling like it's hard.
I can shake your hand. I can respect you. You understand? I can respect you. You understand?
Cops wanna kill me cause I'm black. Ops wanna drill me cause I'm black. Can't get no job cause I'm black. She wanna fuck me cause I'm black. Her dad don't like me cause I'm black. But she Hispanic so she black. Ain't got no time for none of that. Bitch, I'm a Jew, so I'm black. Cops wanna kill me cause I'm black. Ops wanna drill me cause I'm black. Can't get no job cause I'm black. She wanna fuck me cause I'm black. Her dad don't like me cause I'm black. But she Hispanic so she black. Ain't got no time for none of that. Bitch, I'm a Jew, so I'm black. I can't fight the cops and the ops. Toting Glocks that be on the block. While the crack tucked in the sock. It's to help the ones I love. We was on for the grub. If you from my side, then it's love.
Hey, Shalom, Israel. Let's clap it up. Clap it up. Shalom, Israel. Priest and Officer at the Walker Bar. Rocking it out once again with the young man Avant. We're gonna get it in, get to a couple of precepts. What I want to do is read the book of Joseph. I think it's some good things in that story. Read the book of Joseph, talk about some current events. One of the current events is probably not that current anymore, but let me get this. So locked. One of the current events I want to talk about, right, is Dwayne Wade and his son or his daughter was in a advertisement for Tiffany and Co., the famous jeweler, and black people were losing their mind, giving praise, saying how beautiful she or he or it was. And I don't mean no disrespect, but it is what it is. That's the type of world we live in. Like we definitely know a boy from a girl, a man from a woman, but you find yourself correcting yourself, slipping up when that's just confusion. You shouldn't even be having to worry about that because the Lord didn't bring confusion. He made a man to be with a woman, and that's the end of it. He made if you were born with the right equipment, you was a man. If you was born with the other type of equipment, you was a woman. It is very simple. It's very black and white with the Most High. But men have sought out different schemes, and the world is the world. The world is the world, straight up and down. So yeah, if you got any questions, any topics, anything that's even off the topic, let's get it in. I will do my best to answer any questions and to go in any concerns, any topics, anything going on in the world. What else? There's something else I want to talk about also. I think it's was it the Ukraine? I wanted to go into that. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get to that. We'll have to find a story. You have some?
The story about Korea saying if anything happened to Kim Jong-un, they're gonna launch nukes or something.
I didn't hear that story. So North Korea is saying if anything happens to their leader. So what is he? Is he went somewhere or is he?
I'm not sure.
What is? I would have to actually look it up and see if there's any talks have been happening between America, Iran, Russia. The Koreans don't play. They don't even play with their own people. So, I guess that would be the norm for any country. Anything happens to Vladimir Putin, Russia gonna launch nukes. Anything happens to whoever is the prime minister in Iran, they gonna launch their nukes. And of course, if anything happen to the damn president of the United States, it's gonna be war. Anything happen to the people of the United States, as far as something coming from another soil, another territory, they are definitely going to get revenge, just like 9/11. That's a prime example of what will happen. Or I'm not going to say what will happen, but what is the spirit of America? America gets revenge. Blacks, Hispanics, you can't get revenge though, right? You can't go all out and get revenge. But the spirit of the Edomites is to never forget what was done to them, never let it go. And that's why he's not our brother anymore. In fact, we're going to go into some of that. If you could, I want to touch on Dwayne Wade, though. That's what I want to do. Touch on Dwayne Wade. So give me, what did I ask for?
Leviticus 19 and 29.
That's what I want.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 29. Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore.
The Bible says to do not prostitute your daughter, to cause her to be a whore. Well, in this case, do not prostitute thy son, right? Do not prostitute your children is the point. Do not prostitute or push your children to live sexually deviant lifestyles. And you know what? We do that a lot in the Black and Hispanic community, particularly the Black community. I'm not saying it doesn't happen in the Black community, because it does. It does, and it's normalized, especially in South America, especially in places like Puerto Rico and Santo Domingo, Chile. I can go on, Brazil, Sao Paulo. I can go on and on, how they have those carnival festivals where everybody is half naked, right? The women are basically naked and they got paint on their bodies. And then, you know, the little girls see that and that's what they aspire to be. The boys see that and that's what they aspire to want. So in America, it's the same thing. It's through the music industry, with the women that you see in the music industry and that whole image that they push. I remember back in the day, when it used to be women MCs, but they rapped about real issues. They didn't rap about twerking, and they didn't rap about, you know, how many men they can sleep with and how many men they can get money out of. That's not what they rapped about. And they wasn't twerking and they behind now. Now I'm saying I ain't saying it wasn't no sexuality in music when I was coming up, but I'm just saying the message was totally different, right? As well as for the brothers. It wasn't about killing you and, drill music or, what hood you from and how many choppers you got. It was about painting a picture of real reality coming from the hood and showing how articulate you can be with your flow, showing how you can spit, how you can really spit rhymes and put metaphors together. That's what hip hop was all about. And of course, the dance element, the break dancing element, and, just Black people just having flavor as far as, new slang, new dances. That's what music was about back then. It has totally changed now. And so our sisters are half naked twerking, right? And that image, that lifestyle, or that mindset is what we push on the children. That mindset is pushed on little young girls. There's plenty of videos of young girls twerking at birthday parties and the grown women egging them on. Grown women dancing on young boys. Read it from the top.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 29. Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore.
Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore. Now, when you read this, you're thinking like you're taking your daughter, taking her to the truck stop, or you taking her to the crack house and you're selling your daughter. You get what I'm saying? That's not what it's saying. Prostitute your daughter is the way you dress your daughter. The things that you allow your daughter, or in this case, we're talking about Dwayne Wade, your son to do. I think his son was 12 or 13 years old when he started allowing him to just come out and be full-fledged. And I said, that is a horrible father. Dwayne Wade is a horrible father. You understand? According to the Bible, Dwayne Wade is setting up his son for death. The Lord is totally against that lifestyle. But everybody love him because we live in a society where the people that run the society are halfway homosexuals themselves. So they don't give a damn. And another thing, what you see with them is, that's another thing, that Jeffrey Dahmer movie. Somebody remind me about that. That Jeffrey Dahmer movie that everybody is talking about. I haven't seen it, but I know about Jeffrey Dahmer. But we're pushing these things on our children, and in that form, you are prostituting them to start to serve other gods, right? You're prostituting them away from the Lord. You're pushing them into the world to follow the things of the world, the philosophies of the world, and the world is going to do what it wants to do. The world is going to swallow your child, crush them, and spit them back out. And they'll be destroyed at the end. Who knows, 10, 20 years from now, Dwayne Wade's son will turn around and turn against his father and his stepmom, Gabrielle Union, for how they pushed that on him. We don't know if he's been molested or not. 9 times out of 10, people that live those alternative lifestyles have been touched. They have been molested at a young age, probably from a cousin, an uncle, a father, a pastor, somebody. That's how the boys that Eddie Long molested. The pastor Eddie Long, he molested those boys, and when they were old, they killed themselves. One of them did, committed suicide, but they turned out to be gay. But that was after being molested as children. You know what I'm saying? Read it from the top.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 29. Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom, and the land become full of wickedness.
So in the big picture, of the scripture, do not prostitute your daughter. Do not push your daughter to be a whore. Do not what is the word? What's the word I'm looking for? It's not push. Do not encourage your daughter to be that type of woman. And in our community, that is what's happened. We have taught our daughters to be whores. We have taught our daughters to, okay, if it don't work out with this man, girl, you can always go to another man. Matter of fact, girl, bump that, date both of them, be with both of them, and then see which one works out. That's what we teach our daughters in the Black community, right? Now, I want to stay on point because I'm using this to twofold. So I'm using this also because of Dwayne Wade's son. He's pushing his son. So the first wave in our community is to push our daughters to be whores. That's the first wave, and it wouldn't be in the law if it wasn't happening back then. Like, we think that like what we do today is so new, when in reality all of these laws was written down because they was happening then. Even the parables of that Christ spoke about, the sower and the seed. He used different parables: sower and the seed, a needle through a camel's eye, the 10 virgins. Why did he use those parables back then? Because those are things that people were familiar with back then. Brothers were familiar with sowing seed, a seed falling on stony ground, a seed getting in the soil and taking root, because that was the lifestyle of the Israelite. It was agriculture. Brothers knew what a camel was and what a needle was. And brothers had more than one wife. So the parables that Christ used were always things that people could understand because it was their life. They lived it. And so just like what we're talking about here, there were whores back then. There were women pushing their daughters to be, when I was growing up, they called it fast. Like, you a little fast girl, or you mannish or whatever, right? So that was the first wave in America, is we're pushing our daughters to be, now it's video vixens. We're pushing our daughters to be whores. And now the second wave is we're pushing our sons to be effeminate and to be LGBTQ. That's the next wave. The Bible says that doing these things will destroy the land. They will destroy our community. Read it from the top.
Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore,
right?
Lest the land fall to whoredom, and the land become full of wickedness.
And the land become full of wickedness. Because what happens when, let's just do this scenario. What happens when a woman is sleeping with different men? What's the possibilities that could happen? Go ahead.
She catch something.
Okay. Go. You got anything else?
They find out about each other.
Two men find out about each other. Start fighting over the woman. One get killed, or she have children by this man and he don't want to be with her. Now you have a fatherless, child that grows up rebellious, that grows up a monster, and it destroys your community. That's what has happened from the time of slavery in America. That's happened generation after generation in our community. This is not nothing new, but what the white man did was put a camera lens on it and say, "Ooh, look, black on black crime. Look at how they acting. Look at the things that they're doing." Right? But this is normal. If it wasn't, the Lord wouldn't be telling us to beware of these type of things and don't do these type of things. So what Dwayne Wade is doing, like I said, he's pushing his son to the destruction. I was listening to a radio show, and I can't remember what it was and how the radio show. I was driving from San Diego, so it was a long drive. So I just put on a radio station, and they was talking about sex changes, and they said they've been doing this since I think probably the 70s, I think they said. And there's a high number of people, once they get the sex change, they regret it. They get depressed and suicidal, and they want to reverse it. But it's almost like you can't reverse it. And then you have a lot of them, right? This is the part that the LGBT community doesn't talk about. This part where they try to get the sex changes, but they regret it after they got the sex change. Then they go into this dark depression and they get suicidal. Nobody is talking about that, right? But there was a radio show where they had a lady that actually got a sex change. And she was like, this is she is now an activist against the LGBTQ. But they shut people up like that, right? But it messes with your mind after you done changed your body, right? And now you can't go back. Your hormones is all messed up. Now you're emotional. You're suicidal. Just like when people take steroids, get suicidal. Those weightlifters and stuff messes with the chemistry in your body, and you be all off balance mentally, and you get suicidal and you get all depressed, right? And that's a factor that people don't really even know exists, because they make it look like it's a good thing. It's your choice. You're free. You're liberated. It's real love. Love is love, right? But there is a dark side after all of that. There's a dark side to that. So like I said, Dwayne Wade's son, he going to mess around 10, 20 years from now. He'll be turning around cursing them, upset at them for pushing him that way. They got on Lil Boosie because Lil Boosie said, man, don't cut the boy thing. Lil Boosie said, man, Dwayne Wade, what you doing? and everybody came down on Lil Boosie. Lil Boosie was real. That was the right thing to say. That's what we don't have. We don't have that, like, brothers that are in a position that have a platform, when they do say something against evil, the pushback is crazy. The pushback is crazy, right? And they get everybody to recant what they said and then give a public apology, right? Not here. Not here. Thus said the Lord. Don't push your daughter to be a whore. Don't push your son to be in the LGBT community. Correct your son. Now, this is supposed to be a man that's a masculine man. Well, I wouldn't say that, but I ain't gonna say masculine, but we're talking about a sports figure. So when we talk about black men have always been physically strong. We have always been physically strong, superior specimens, right? But like the Willie Lynch letter say, we lack the strength here. We don't have the strength right here. The strength has always been in what our performance and what we could do. But we've always been mentally weak. Always been mentally weak. And so he's just grooming and raising a son that will be mentally weak, susceptible to anything anybody says, and he's going to be broken. He's going to be depressed, and Lord forbid he will be suicidal also, because this is what's happening behind the scenes in the transgender community, right? You can drop that. So it was something else about, what was it? Jeffrey Dahmer. That Jeffrey Dahmer story. But I ain't gonna even go into it. It just seems like black people make anything popular. Go ahead.
So, speaking of that, I seen like a little clip last night, the part about fathers influencing their sons.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of, like, I forgot what episode it was. My grandma was watching.
Watching what?
The Jeffrey Dahmer. I was like watching that clip. That's crazy. I seen just that part though.
Mm-hmm.
It was after he got sentenced, however long he got sentenced, and his father was like, yeah, son, it's my fault, like pepping around all those dead animals, like killing the animals and encouraging this, that. Like, he was basically saying it was his fault that his son was cutting and killing people because he was just around it all his life. Like,
right.
About dead animals and killing animals.
That's what now I'm reminded of what I saw. So I guess Netflix had put the Jeffrey Dahmer in the LGBT category on Netflix. It's in the LGBT category, and the LGBT community was like, hell nah, take it off of that category. Don't put that on us, right? But that's a fact. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't want to be called out for that. Now, when that school shooting happened, they was very quiet. Everybody is very quiet. The school shooting in Texas, that was that man that did that was LGBTQ. He was a transgender that killed all those elementary school kids. That was violence on their behalf, right? But you see how quick to, be try to cover things up and be quiet about it, right? When it didn't came out, all the studies, LGBTQ are among the most violent relationships there are. They're more violent than heterosexual relationships. Men and women, they're more violent. And domestic violence is at a higher rate in that community. I wonder why. Right? So we're gonna move on and let's get we're gonna go into Joseph, talk about Joseph. So let's get Genesis 37. Read a little bit about Joseph. It's good to always refresh on biblical stories just to stay sharp. You know what I'm saying? So let's get that.
Genesis 37.
Yeah. Genesis 37 and 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 37. The book of Genesis, chapter 37, verse 1. And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their people report. Now Israel loved Jacob more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him, and could not speak peaceably unto him.
Wait, slow that down. Read that one more time. Now, Jacob loved Joseph more than his other sons, and he made him a coat of many colors, like a coat or a garment that it was just multicolored. Go ahead. Go
Verse
back.
4. And when his brothers saw that their father loved him more.
Now, when his brothers saw that their father loved him more, this is a real thing. This is a real thing. You may have more than one child. There are children that you may love more. It may be your eldest. It may be your youngest. But it's not out of the ordinary. In fact, there's a law on how to treat your children, right? Go ahead and read.
And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him.
Now, when they saw that, you know what? Because I've experienced this with my grandmother. I experienced this because, I was raised by my grandparents, and me and all my cousins, and my older cousins. Now, when I have talked to them, they like, yeah, you was grandma's favorite. Like, but I felt the hate. You know what I'm saying? I felt like a little heat on that. Like, okay, I was, okay, but I didn't know it then. But looking back, now I see it more clearer that I was a favorite child. You understand? Grandchild. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field.
So Joseph had a dream, and he's telling his brothers a dream. You have verse 7?
All right. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheep arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made obeisance. And made obeisance to my sheep.
So he said he had a sheaf like a large leaf. His stood up, and all the other leaves came to Joseph's leaf and bowed down. They gave respect to his leaf. So this is a dream. So it's like a vision. Go ahead.
Verse 9. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, The sun and the moon and even the stars made obeisance to me. Verse 10. And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him. And his father rebuked him and said unto him, what is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy brother and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth? And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the same. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem.
So his father said, "What is this all about? Like, should me and your mother come and bow down to you also?" Right? And his brothers just hated him for it. They hated him for saying that. Go ahead.
And Israel said unto Joseph, do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, here am I.
Mm-hmm.
And he said to him, go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren. And
so he sent him to meet up with his brethren where they were with the sheep. Go ahead. What verse you on?
Verse 14.
Mm-hmm.
And he said to him, go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren and well with the flock.
So Jacob sent Joseph to go check on his brothers and check on the flocks. Go ahead.
And bring me word again. So he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, what seekest thou?
So I want you to slow down. So now he's walking around in the field looking for his brothers, and the man said, what are you looking for? Go ahead. Verse 16.
Verse 16. And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flock.
So he ran into a brother that was just asking, what you looking for? And he's like, I'm looking for my brothers and where they feed their flocks at. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And the man said, they are departed hence. For I heard them say, let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren and found them in Dothan. And verse 18. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him.
So when he walked up to find his brothers and they saw him coming from far away, they conspired to kill him. That's how much they hated Joseph, right? They knew their father loved him the most, and they had a demon on them. A lot of y'all had that in your family. A lot of y'all had that in your family where, you know, you seem like you're the favorite, and you can't never get along with your siblings because deep down inside, they hate you because they look at you as like, oh, you the mama's boy, you're the daddy's girl, you're the one that, you know, get everything, and they treat you this way, but they treat me this way. You know what I mean? That happens every day in our community. A lot of our families are dysfunctional and broken up for this very thing. Go ahead.
Verse 19. And they said one to another, behold, this dreamer coming. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him.
They said, behold. They said, look, here this dreaming old nigga come. He got all the dreams. He gonna be on top. We gonna be paying homage to him. Verse 20.
Come now, therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit, and we will say, some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dream.
Good night. Good night. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine your brothers hating you so much that they like, we gonna put you to death? This happens every day in the Black and Hispanic community. This is gangbanging 101.
Right.
Literally, you got brothers that are family that are beefing with each other because they from different hoods. They wear different colors. You got literal brothers, and to think of it in that way, it brings it more real because you look at this story and you like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, how you so mad at your brother just because, you know, he have these type of dreams, or he like in our society right now, you'd probably be like, man, he off, man. He be talking about he have dreams, and you know, he gonna be better than us, and we gonna pay homage to him. You'll probably look at it like that. You wouldn't think that a brother would look at another brother like, we're gonna kill him. We're gonna kill him, and we're gonna say that somebody else killed him. We're gonna say we went to the club and we gonna shoot him, but we're gonna say somebody else shot him, and that's what happened to him. That's how much they hated their brother, but that's how much we hate each other today in the Black and Hispanic community. We hate each other for words. Social media posts, literally. And it's not even, it's words. So a brother say, yeah, I'm this, I'm that. I'm about to have this, I'm about to do this, I'm about to do that. And you jealous and envious. And now you conspiring to kill your own brother, right? That is the mindset that we have in our community. It's literally when the police investigation starts, like they just caught the brother, I think it was a brother and his father that killed the rapper P&B Rock. They just caught him, I guess, today or whatever. Now watch, when they pull him into that room and ask those questions, it's going to be over something so petty and so stupid, right? Just like this, it's so petty and so stupid that they want to kill their own brother that they grew up with in the same house, right? What verse are you on?
Verse 21.
Go ahead.
And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands and said, let us not kill him.
So Reuben heard his brothers and he delivered him out of their hands. He persuaded his brothers to chill out, to let it go. He delivered him out of their hands. So they wanted to do it right then. And Reuben heard him, was like, he didn't let it go down like that. Why? Because he loved his brother. Go ahead.
Verse 22. And Reuben said unto them, shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him of that out of their hands, to deliver him to his father again. Verse 23.
So Reuben had a scheme to basically act like he wanted to do something, but play it off in a way to where Joseph could get away and he can, get back to his father again. Go ahead.
Verse 23. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him.
So they took his coat off of him that his father had made for him, because you remember his father loved him. So he made him a coat of many colors, a banging, beautiful garment. Right? Go ahead.
And they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water in it.
So they threw their brother into a pit with no water. Go ahead.
And they sat down to eat bread. And then they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels bearing spices.
Who's the Ishmaelites? Go ahead.
Arabs.
The Arabs, Ishmaelites, the sons of Abraham. Go ahead.
A company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels bearing spices.
Excuse me, sons of Abraham and Hagar, the maidservant. Go ahead.
A company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him.
Judah, a conniving Negro. Judah is some conniving niggas, scamming and planning and plotting. We some conniving niggas. Judah said, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Meaning, we should at least get some bread out of this. That's cold. He said we should at least. I'm on the come up. I gotta get mine. We should at least make some money out of this. You just want to kill him and that's it. You just want to kill him and conceal the matter. Let's profit from it. Ain't that how a nigga think? Niggas think just like that. I'd rather make some money. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather get it, get it over on somebody than just doing them in. I wanna, come up out of this thing with something in my pockets. Right? Read that one more time.
Verse
26.
Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him. For verse 26. And Judah said unto his brethren, What profit is it if we slay our
Wait. Okay, you 26, you went back. Okay, all right, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
And Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood?
Right.
Verse 27.
Go ahead.
Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh.
So he said he's our brother and our flesh. Let's not kill him, but let's make some bread off of him. Let's make some money off of him, right? He don't want to kill him, but he want to get rich. Not rich, but he want to get some profit off of the matter, right? Go ahead.
Verse 28. Then there passed by Midianites.
Wait. You skipped something.
Oh, sorry. For he is our brother in our flesh, and his brethren were content.
So when Judah said that, let's just sell him to the Ishmaelites, because he's our brother and he's our flesh and blood. His brothers was cool with that. They was content. They was like, okay, we can sell him, long as he get up out of our sight, up out of our house. We good. So they was content with that. Verse 28.
Verse 28. Then there passed by Midianites merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they brought Joseph into Egypt. Verse 29.
So they sold Joseph. Joseph went into Egypt, which is, according to Exodus 20:1, the house of bondage. Go ahead.
Verse 29. And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. And he returned unto his brethren and said, the child is not, and I, whither shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of the goats and dipped the coat in the blood.
So Reuben, he seen that Joseph was gone, wasn't in the pit anymore, and he basically rent his clothes, which was a custom in Israel. Whenever you were mourn, you would rip your garment. You would take off your mantle, rip your mantle, take off your mantle, sit in the dust and pour ashes on your head. Shave your if it was a very mournful occasion, you would shave your head, right? When I say shave, of course, not like bald, but you would cut off your hair, right? And in the process for the time of mourning. Where you at?
Verse 31.
31. Go ahead.
32. Sorry. And they sent the coat of many.
Salakia. I glossed over the fact that they took a baby lamb, and they killed it, and they dipped the coat of many colors in the blood. So they setting up something to look like he was killed. They setting it up to look like Joseph was killed when they go back to Jacob and say what happened. Go ahead. What, verse 31? Go ahead.
And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of the goats and dipped the coat in the blood.
And
they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said, this have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no. And he knew it and said, it is my son's coat.
So they gonna play it off like some, I don't know. This is what we found. I don't know. Is this Joseph? Is this your son's coat? Is this your son's coat? Is this our brother? Is this Joseph's coat or not? Jacob is like, he made the coat for Joseph.
Right.
But they all playing along in this conspiracy. Go ahead.
An evil beast hath devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. And Jacob rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his loins and mourned for his sons many days.
Right. So Jacob was in mourning, man. He was in mourning because that was his son that he loved the most. Go ahead.
Verse 35. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, for I will the grave unto my son. His father wept for him.
So they tried to comfort Jacob. His daughters, they tried to comfort their father. They seen the sadness in his eyes every day. He said, I'm gonna go down to my grave like this. It ain't nothing nobody can say or do, because that was my boy right there. That was my little nigga right there. That was, that was the one. You know what I mean? And he's no more. Right? Keep going. 36.
And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and captain of the guard.
So Joseph was sold into Egypt, right? We're going to skip. There's a part that I want to get to. I get to that another time. Let's get I want you to skip to 39. Chapter 39, verse 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 39 and verse 1. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him up of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And the Lord was, verse 2, and the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master.
So Joseph became prosperous in Egypt, and the Lord was with him. That's the reason why Black and Hispanic people are so great in America. When you look and you see a greatness in us, it's because the Lord is with us, even in the house of Pharaoh. All right? Even in the house of our enemies.
Right.
Go ahead.
Verse 3. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer of his house. And all that he had, he put into his hand. Verse 5. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house, and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake.
So the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake, because Joseph was there. That's another point I want to bring out. America is America. America, how they say, God bless America. America, make America great again. America is blessed and America is great because God's chosen people are in America.
Right.
At one point in time, West Africa was great. If you go look in West Africa had Timbuktu. You know who was in Timbuktu? Israelites, Jews that had came from Spain. It was reading and writing and math and all type of things going on in a school of thought, right? West Africa got pyramids. They always talk about the pyramids in Egypt. There's pyramids in West Africa. You know why? Because the Jews were in West Africa. Anywhere we go, that place becomes prosperous. It becomes a blessed place and a good land to live in. Just like here what it said about Pharaoh. His household was blessed because Joseph's sake, because Joseph was there. Well, America is only blessed, only great because God's chosen people are here. All right. Where we at?
The middle of verse 5.
Okay.
And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. Verse 6. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph.
Now Joseph was living the life, man. Joseph was living the life because the Lord was with him, and he was good at everything he did, and he had favor. And he knew how to move. He knew the right things to say, and he moved with wisdom. But then the Pharaoh's wife, she cast her eyes on Joseph. She seen Joseph and was like, damn, I want that young Hebrew. Go ahead.
And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph. And she said, lie with me. But he refused and said unto his master's wife, behold, my master, what is with me in the house? He hath committed all that he had to my hand. Verse 9, there is none greater in this house than I.
Damn. She said, lie with me. He said, my master, he done put everything in this house in my hand. He done committed everything in this house in my hand. And there is nothing in this house more greater than me. Damn. Go ahead.
There is none greater in this house than I.
Right.
Neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?
See, Joseph was a man of the Lord. And he was a man with dignity and integrity and fear of the Most High. He said, how can I do something like that? It's nothing that your husband haven't given me. Why would I want you? If I want a woman, I can get any woman I want out of the kingdom of Egypt. I can get any of the Egyptian women that my eyes set on, and I say she's beautiful. I ask your husband, can you get her? He would do it for me. There's nothing he haven't given me. But I wouldn't do this great wickedness and lay with you, right? Go ahead. Call out the verse.
Verse 10.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her to lie by her or to be with her.
So this is the thing. She was making passes at Joseph every day. It wasn't just one time. Day by day, she would try to holler at him, and he would not listen. Go ahead, son.
So like, I wonder how she felt. Like Joseph saying, like, I had everything. Why would I want too?
Right.
Like,
that should have cut her. That should have cut her right there, where he said, "Listen, he done given me everything. The greatest thing in his house is me, right? And it would be a great wickedness against my God to even lay with you." That should have cut her right then. But she was an immoral woman. She was a whore, right? Go ahead.
Verse 11. And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men of the house there within. And she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out.
So this woman, she would not stop. She was aggressive. Any chance, there's women like that. There's times where you run into women that are very aggressive, that will literally grab you and grope you. And every time you see them, they want you to do the thing that you don't want to do, right? And Joseph, this time there was nobody in the house, so she took hold of him, grabbed him, and in order for him to flee, in the midst of him fleeing, he left his part of his garment. Go ahead.
Verse 12. And she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out. Verse 13. And it came to pass, when she saw that he left his garment in her hand and was fled forth, that she called unto the men of her house and spake unto them, saying, see, he hath brought in an Hebrew unto us to mock us. He came in unto me to lie with me. He came in unto me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice. And it came to pass, when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled and got him out. Verse 16. And she laid up his garment by her until his Lord came home.
Good night. So now it gets dark, because now she's accusing him of basically trying to rape her, trying to lay down with her, and she cried out, right? And so she done conspired this whole thing against Joseph because he wouldn't lay with her. This is very similar to the stories during slavery time, when a mistress would try to sleep with a slave, and he wouldn't want to sleep with her, but she would blackmail him, or she would say he tried to rape me, or he would lay with her, and then when it's found out, she would say he raped me. Then he would get hung, right? This is not nothing new, right? This happened back then in ancient times. It even happened in 100 years ago. It's still happening today. That's why you should never be in privacy with another man's wife. The Bible tell you that. Don't be nowhere. Don't be found in the face of another man's wife in private quarters, having private talks. Don't do that, because anything can be said about you. You might be a righteous man that have good intentions. You might be a good brother that have good intentions, but like we see here with Joseph, look what happened now. Look what happened now. Now she's accusing him of trying to lie with her and trying to take it, grab her by the pee, like Donald Trump said. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 17. And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, the Hebrew servant which thou hast brought unto us came in unto me to mock me. And it came to pass, as I lifted up my voice and cried, He left his garment with me and fled out.
Now she's telling her husband what happened. She said that Hebrew servant that you brought up in here, he came up in here to mock us. And he tried to take it, and he done fled. Go ahead.
Verse 19.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him, saying, after this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled.
So his wrath was kindled. He believed his wife. He believed his wife. He believed his wife was virtuous and she was an upstanding woman and she was not a whore. So he got angry, like most men would. Most men will get angry when they hear something like that about their woman, that their woman was even potentially violated. The flames will start flying out of your ears, right? You'll be like, get the strap. It's time to go. Load up the troops. Where this nigga at? Let's go find this nigga. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Verse 19. And it came to pass, verse 20. And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound. And he was there in the prison. Verse 21. But the Lord was with Joseph and showed him mercy.
So Joseph was put in prison over this. Now, in the book of Josephus, I didn't bring the book of Josephus. Josephus was a Hebrew scholar that was born around the 1st century CE. And Josephus basically breaks down a lot of things from the beginning of Genesis up until his time. And Josephus said during this time, Joseph didn't say anything. He didn't even try to defend himself. He didn't try to defend himself because he had confidence that the Lord would be his defense, that the Lord knew that he was righteous and that he didn't do anything wrong. So Josephus gives a little more insight into the mind state of Joseph, because you see here in verse 20, it says that Joseph's master took him and put him in prison. And then in verse 21, it says that the Lord was with Joseph, right? It fast forward. So Josephus gives some insight on what was going through Joseph's mind when this all happened, and his reaction. His reaction was like, I'm not going to fight it. I mean, I can't fight it. I'm just going to have confidence that the Lord knows what he saw, everything that went down, and he's going to be with me. All right. Verse 21.
Verse 21. But the Lord was with Joseph and showed him mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison.
So Joseph got favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. Also, let me see that. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 22. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in prison, and whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it.
So the keeper of the prison, he committed to Joseph everything. Basically, Joseph became the MAC rep in prison. He became the shot caller. I don't know if y'all know who that is in prison. I know a lot of people ain't been to prison. I have been to prison. The shot caller makes all the calls for that particular card, that race. And this is what the keeper did. He gave him that position because the Lord was with Joseph, with everyone, whether he was sold, whether he entered Pharaoh's house. Now he in prison and the Lord is still with him. And let me just tell you a personal story. When I was locked up, right, I was not in the truth. Was not in the truth, but when it came to the politics, the way that I moved, I was always a brother that was a spiritual brother and a brother that, read the Bible, and people would see that. And one day it was time for me to go. And I realized on that day how much respect people had for me, because when it was time for me to go, the MAC rep that was there came up to me and said, man, I was looking at you like you should be the MAC rep. I was going to ask that you be the MAC rep, but it was time for me to go out of that prison. And I was getting transferred to to Chino. And the point I'm making is that when the Lord is with you, he could put you in a estate. He can put you in a place where you like, damn, like I wasn't trying to do this, but a lot of people will look up and see something in you that they don't see in other people. You understand what I'm saying? And so with Joseph, Joseph was he had favor, high or low. Now he just came from a high place. He was in the house of Pharaoh. Now he's in a low place. He's in prison, and he's still getting favor from the prison keeper. Go ahead. What's that? Verse 23?
Yeah.
All right, give me that.
The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because the Lord was with him. And that which he did, the Lord made it to prosper.
Good night. So whatever Joseph was doing, the keeper of the prison didn't even pay attention. He was like, him, oh, he's good. He's like one of us. Because whatever Joseph did, the Lord made it prosper. Whatever Joseph decided to tell them to do, any moves to make in the prison amongst the prisoners, it prospered. It went all well. There was no issues. And so the prison keeper, the COs, they was like, okay, whatever he doing, I ain't even worried about it because I know it's all good, right? Keep reading.
That's the end of the chapter.
Keep going.
The book of Genesis, chapter 40, verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that the butler of the king of Egypt and his baker had offended their lord, the king of Egypt. And Pharaoh was brought against two of his officers, against the chief of butlers and against the chief of the baker. So Pharaoh's angry with the two of his officers, the chief butler and the chief baker, and he put them in prison. Go ahead. Verse 3. And he put them in ward in the house of the captain of the guard, into the prison, the place where Joseph was bound. So they went to the same place where Joseph was at. Go ahead. And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them, and they continued a season in ward. And they dreamed both of them, each man his dream in one night, each man according to the interpretation of his dream, the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt, which were bound in the prison. So both of these brothers, not brothers, Egyptians, both of them had dreams, during the night. So you remember, Joseph could interpret dreams. Go ahead. Verse 6. And Joseph came in unto them in the morning and looked upon them, and behold, they were sad. Joseph looked at them and they were sad. Let me tell you something. Everybody in prison is sad. You see all kind of people. Look, I've never seen people cry like I seen cry in prison. I've seen grown men. I've seen grown men literally get in the fetal position and cry on their bed, cry themselves to sleep. I am not lying to you. You know what I'm saying? You see the real humanity of people in prison. You see what people are really actually made of in prison. And so when he say they were sad, I'm sure they were sad. Everybody locked up is sad. Everybody locked up want to get out. Everybody locked up want to be eating good again. And you talking about the chief butler, the cupbearer, the person that passes the drink to the king, to the pharaoh. And you talking about the baker. He cooking in the kitchen. He eating good. He's in prison. He's in hell right now. They all sad. They both sad, right? Go ahead. Verse 7. And he asked Pharaoh's officers that were with him in the ward of his Lord's house, saying, wherefore look ye so sadly today? He said, nigga, why you look all down and sad? You down bad? Everybody in here down bad. Why you look sad? Go ahead. And they said unto him, we have dreamed a dream, and there is no interpreter of it. And Joseph said unto them, do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me them, I pray you. And the chief butler told his dream to Joseph, and said to him, in my dream, behold, a vine was before me. And in the vine... Hold on 1 second. 1 second. I want you to get Ecclesiastes 5 and 3. Now they were upset because they didn't have nobody to help them interpret those dreams. But I just want you to, I want to also reiterate that everything you dream don't mean a goddamn thing. You'll have a lot of dreams, but that don't mean that they mean anything. I've had a dream that actually was reality, and I had a vision that's in the Bible before it's a dream.
But I've had hundreds of dreams in my 40 years of life, and they meant absolutely nothing. You know what I'm saying? And so the point that I'm making is that every dream you have is not a revelation. It doesn't mean anything. You might have a nightmare. You might have a dream where it may seem like something you don't want happening, or something that somebody die or something like that. All your dreams don't mean anything. And a lot of your dreams you have, by the time you wake up, you can't even remember the goddamn dream. So they don't mean anything. But I'm going to go into that. Give me that scripture real quick so we can just make this clarification.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 5 and verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
For a dream cometh through the multitude of business.
The dream comes through the multitude of business. So being a busybody, having a lot of thoughts on your mind, that you will dream, you will have a dream that night. You know what I mean? Another thing that will make you dream is if you get up in the middle of the night eating, or you eat late, you have dreams like that too. You know what I'm saying? That I don't know why that happens, but the multitude of business, like a lot of busyness, a lot of things going on, a lot of things on your mind, you have a dream, right? Is that all? Or okay, go ahead.
For a dream cometh through the multitude of business, and a fool's voice is known by multitude of words.
The point is that a dream comes by the multitude of business, of being busy, a lot of things going on, a lot of things on your mind and your head. You know what I mean? That's how a lot of dreams come about. So just keep that in perspective. When Joseph asked these brothers, go back. I just wanted to bring that out because when Joseph asked them, it was like, it ain't nobody to interpret our dreams. That's why they were sad. Like every dream don't mean everything. Don't mean something. Every dream don't have no significant value. Sometimes you just dream things because of as much busyness and business going on. A lot of things going on in your mind. A lot of things going on in your life. You understand? We good?
Go.
Let's get good. Call it out.
The book of Genesis, chapter 40, verse 7. And he asked Pharaoh's officers that were with him in the ward of his Lord's house, saying, Wherefore look ye so sadly today? And they said unto him, We have dreamed a dream, and there is no interpreter of it. And Joseph said unto them, Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me them, I pray you. And the chief butler told his dream to Joseph, and said to him, In my dream, behold, a vine was before me, and in the vine were 3 branches, and it was so as though it budded, and her blossoms shot forth, and the clusters therefore brought forth ripe grapes. And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand. And I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. Verse 12. And Joseph said unto him, This is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thine head, and restore thee unto thy place. And thou shalt deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hand, after the former manner when thou was his butler.
So he told the butler his dream, the interpretation of his dream was that in 3 days he would be restored to his same position, meaning he would be back again the butler. Pharaoh was just mad right now, so he threw him in prison. Go ahead.
Verse 14. But think on me when it shall be well with thee, and show kindness, I pray thee, unto me.
So Joseph said, but remember me though. When you are restored and you're back in that position and you're next to the Pharaoh, remember me that told you about this, that you would be there when you're standing next to Pharaoh. Remember me while I'm still in prison. Go ahead.
And make mention of me unto Pharaoh.
Make mention of me. Go ahead.
And bring me out of this house. Verse 15. For indeed I was stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews. And here also have I done nothing that they should put me into the dungeon.
So Joseph is saying, man, I done came from the land of the Hebrews. I was stolen away, and now I'm in prison. I ain't done nothing my whole life to deserve the circumstances that I find myself in. Go ahead.
Verse 16. When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, he said unto Joseph, I also was in my dream, and behold, I had 3 white baskets in my hand.
So the chief baker, he was like, he saw the interpretation was good. He was like, let me tell him what my dream. All right, go ahead.
Verse 17. In the uppermost basket there was of all manner of baked meats
for
Pharaoh. and the birds did eat them out of the basket upon my head. And Joseph answered and said, This is the interpretation thereof. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thy head from off thee, and shall hang thee on a tree, and the birds shall eat thy flesh off of thee. And it came to pass the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday.
Which was what?
Which was Pharaoh's birthday.
This is a lesson for you. Pharaoh's birthday, birthdays, birthday parties, birthdays. Birthdays are not an Israelite custom. Birthdays are a heathen custom. Birthdays are a custom of heathens, of non-Israelites. This is one of the examples. It's 2 examples in the Bible. This is one example of a birthday in the Bible. Pharaoh's birthday, and then you have King Herod's birthday, when John the Baptist's head was cut off. So this is a example of a birthday in the scriptures. Israelites did not celebrate birthdays. Christ did not celebrate his birthday, right? So this is what happened on the birthday of Pharaoh. The baker, go ahead and read.
And it came to pass the 3rd day, which is Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast unto all his servants. And he lifted up the head of the chief butler and of the chief baker among his servants. And he restored the chief butler unto his brother.
Like Joseph has said, he told the chief butler or the cupbearer that he would be restored to his position. He would be back in his position in 3 days. But he also said, remember me. Remember what I told you. Go ahead.
And he restored the chief butler unto his butlership again. And he gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker.
But he what?
But he hanged the chief baker.
He hanged the chief baker. Just like Joseph has said, this is what was going to happen. He hanged the chief baker on his birthday. So on the birthdays of heathens, of non-Israelites, these are the things that would happen. People would get beheaded. People would get hanged. People would get murdered in front of a crowd. That was a tradition of heathens, a birthday. And in some cultures, they would celebrate a birthday every day of that month. So say your birthday is in January. You would celebrate every day of January, your birthday, right? Which a lot of Black and Hispanic people do today. Hey, it's my birthday. Turn up every day. We turning up all month. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how much you err in doing the things you do. Keep reading.
Verse 22. But he hanged the chief baker, and Joseph had interpreted to them.
Right.
Yet did not the chief butler remember Joseph, but forget him.
Ooh wee. Now he told him in prison. You see how you see how soon you forget. When he was down and out, when he was down bad in prison, he was coming to Joseph for an interpretation. When Joseph told him the interpretation, he was glad. He was like, okay, I'm gonna be restored. But Joseph said, remember me. Remember who I am. He forgot that quick. He didn't even remember Joseph. He was like, it's like when you get the thing that you want, you forget when you was down bad. You forget when you was doing bad. That's I don't know. I ain't gonna say that's human nature, but that's the nature of the flesh. It's like when you down, when you really at your lowest point, you know, your eyes is open, your spirit is receptive, you're listening, you're hearing, you're taking everything in, any advice you'll take. And then when things line up, all the ducks are in a row and everything gets good, you forget about all of that. You forget about the people that gave you counsel. You forget about the people that gave you encouragement. You forget about the people that spoke good words to you. You forget the hand that fed you, literally. You know what I'm saying? Like the butler right here, he literally forgot. Like, damn, I'm back. He didn't even consider like, how did I get back here, or what the brother Joseph did for him. Right? Go ahead.
The book of Genesis, chapter 41 and verse 1. And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river, and behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kind and fat-fleshed,
Mhm.
and they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kind came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean-fleshed, and stood by the other kind upon the brink of the water.
So the Pharaoh saw 7 kind of well-fleshed animals, and he saw 7 kind of ill-flavored animals. Keep reading verse 4.
And the ill-favored and lean-fleshed kind did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kind.
So the ill-favored, they ate up the well-favored, right? Keep reading.
So Pharaoh awoke, verse 5.
So he awoke from that one. That was one dream. He awoke from that. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And he slept and dreamed the second time, and behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon one stalk, rank and good. And behold, 7 thin ears and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them.
So now on this second dream, it says 7 ears of corn came up on one stalk, rank and good, and then 7 thin ones blasted with the east wind sprung up behind them. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 rank and full ears.
So the thin ones devoured the rank and full ears of corn. Go ahead, verse 8.
And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. Verse 8. And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled.
Now Pharaoh's spirit is troubled. He troubled because he done had two dreams back to back, and he don't know the meaning of it. Go ahead.
And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt and all the wise men thereof. And Pharaoh told them his dream, but there was none that could interpret them unto Pharaoh.
None of the magicians of Egypt could interpret the dream. None of the sorcerers, none of those people could interpret Pharaoh's dream. Go ahead.
Verse 9. Then spake the chief butler unto Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my fault this day.
So now the chief butler, the cupbearer, now he starts to remember, because he remembers when he had a dream when he didn't know what the meaning was. Now he said, I remember my faults this day. Go ahead.
Then spake the chief butler unto Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my faults this day. Verse 10. Pharaoh was wroth with his servants, and put me in ward in the captain of the guard's house, both me and the chief baker. And we dreamed a dream in one night, I and he. We dreamed each man according to the interpretation of his dream. And there was there with us a young man, and Hebrew servant to the captain of the guard.
So he remembered the Hebrew that he was locked up with. He's telling the Pharaoh what happened to him, how he was locked down, and he was in there with a Hebrew. Go ahead.
And we told him, and he interpreted to us our dreams. To each man according to the dream, to each man according to his dream, he did interpret.
So he's telling the Pharaoh, like, this man, this Hebrew, he interpreted every man's dream. Go ahead.
Verse 13. And it came to pass as he interpreted to us, so it was me he restored unto mine office, and him he hanged. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon, and he shaved himself and changed his raiment and came in unto Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is none that can interpret it. And I have heard say of thee that thou canst understand a dream to interpret it.
So the Pharaoh pulled Joseph out of prison to interpret his dream. Go ahead. Verse 16.
Verse 16. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying,
Excuse me.
It is not in me. God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph.
So listen, verse 16. Joseph gave the Most High all the glory. He said, it's not of me, right? But the Most High is going to give Pharaoh his interpretation, the answer. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph in my dream, behold, I stood upon the bank of the river, and behold, there came up out of the river.
You can skip down. Let me see. Verse 28, because give me verse 25.
Verse 25. And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, the dream of Pharaoh is one.
So the two dreams that he had, that Pharaoh had, the two of the kind flesh and the corn, they were really just one dream. Go ahead.
And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, the dream of Pharaoh is one. God has showed Pharaoh what he is about to do.
Mm-hmm.
The 7 good kind are 7 years, and the 7 good ears are 7 years. The dream is one. And the 7 thin and ill-favored kind that came up after them are 7 years. And the 7 empty ears blasted with the east wind shall be 7 years of famine. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh. What God is about to do, he showed unto Pharaoh. Behold, there come 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine. And all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land.
So Joseph told him, like, what that dream meant is that it would be 7 years of plentiful crops, 7 years of plenty. And then after that 7 years, it would be 7 years of famine, meaning there will be scarcity and no food in the land. All right. What verse are we on?
31.
Okay.
And the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of that famine following, for it shall be very grievous. And for that the dream was doubled unto Pharaoh twice is because the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass.
And he said the reason why you had 2 dreams is because it's established by the Most High, and the Most High will make it surely to pass. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 33. Now therefore let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years. And let them gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. Verse 36.
So Joseph is telling Pharaoh what the strategy should be. He's telling them that you need to gather up food. You need to gather up this food in the first 7 years and store this food, right? So he's starting to give him a logistical blueprint, a strategy on how to prepare for when this time is about to come. Go ahead.
Verse 35. And let them gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. Verse 36.
Mm-hmm.
And that food shall be restored to the land against the 7 years of famine,
mm-hmm.
which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine.
And so he's saying that food that you store up for them 7 years, it shall be it should be for to the land against the 7 years of famine, meaning that it will be stored up. So when the 7 years of famine will come, you'll have enough surplus and plenty to survive through the bad times, basically. Give me verse 37. We're not going to get to this whole story, but we're going to do this whole story of Joseph because this is a really good story. Now, when this famine comes, now there's going to be a famine in all the land, not just Egypt. And his brothers, Jacob is going to send his brothers up to Egypt because there's going to be a decree that not only Egyptians can buy food, but strangers can buy food. So Jacob is going to send Joseph's sons to Egypt to buy food. We won't get to it tonight, but we're going to continue on the next class, right? So let's just keep going until we got a little bit more. Go ahead.
Verse 37. And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one that as this is, a man in whom the Spirit of God is? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as God has shewed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. Thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou.
Damn. We're going to stop right there. So Pharaoh said he can't figure out another man that can do this job. So he appointed Joseph to do this job of maintaining basically making sure they save up for the famine, and also making sure going through all the different districts and making sure that everybody only takes enough, like Josephus said, So what I'm saying is not in the scriptures, but it's in Josephus, making sure that the different regions, when they gather their crops, when they do all of that, that they only take enough and not take luxuriously. So he told the Pharaoh to not live luxuriously in this time. You got to just take what you need and stack it up. The Pharaoh felt that Joseph was the man for the job, and he put him in charge of everything. Joseph was what the Bible says that Joseph was the visor. He was second in command. A Hebrew Israelite was second in command to the Pharaoh over all of Egypt, right? You can't get to that station being a wicked man. Right. Wicked men don't get in that type of position. You understand what I'm saying? You don't get to that level as being the children of God, a biblical ethnic Jew, whether even if it was today. You have never seen nobody get to that station in America. Right. Now you think Barack Obama was the president? He was a Kenyan. He was African. He was not an Israelite. You understand? But you can't get to that station unless the Lord is with you, right? So in closing, you want to make sure that the Lord is always with you, and you want to always use wisdom in your affairs with dealing with people, dealing in this world, because just like Joseph, overnight, you can go from being sold as a slave to being the second in charge over all of Egypt. With that, I'm drop the class. We will continue. Let's clap it up. We will continue next week with the story of Joseph, and I will bring out some cold historical facts about who Joseph was in Egyptian history, because he's not named Joseph in Egypt, but a lot of people know who he was in ancient Egypt. With that, this is the end of the class. Shalom, Israel.